Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be taking a close look at Bachmann's model of Sir Handel. A lot of people, including myself, have been waiting for him to be released, and after years of anticipation, he's finally here. But does he live up to the hype? Would he be a worthy addition to your train collection? Let's find out. Even at a glance, there's no denying that Sir Handel is a good-looking model. The proportions appear to be correct, the dark blue is an excellent match to the TV series livery, and the lining and nameplates are very nicely applied. As usual for the narrow gauge line, Bachmann has incorporated extra detailing from Sir Handel's real-life counterpart, Sir Hayden. However, they have done a bit more here than they have in the past. Looking at Sir Handel's front, you can see that Bachmann has done an excellent job with his face. It looks just like it did in the CGI era of the show, whether it's a face that you love or hate. Additionally, the rivets on his front buffer beam look just how they should. There are also a few separately fitted parts, such as the coupling hook, buffer heads, and a brake pipe. I will admit the brake pipe does make Sir Handel stand out a bit compared to the other engines, as he's the only one who received one, but it does still look nice, and not too chunky. Sir Handel also has a few details under his face that are pulled from Sir Hayden, but they don't stand out as much. Looking under his saddle tank, you can see some pipework that has been picked out in a gold color, which looks fairly nice. It is molded on rather than being separately fitted, but that is common across the entire range and was likely done so that the models don't look too out of place next to the standard gauge engines. Additionally, you can see a bit of extra unpainted pipework that Bachmann has added for their upcoming Sir Hayden model. It is a little jarring here, but it can't really be seen unless you're looking at the model extremely closely. You can also see the crisp printing of the nameplate here. Moving on, the wheels also look nice and match up with how Sir Hayden's wheels look in real life. His coupling rods are also nice and fine. Bachmann have used plastic for the piston rod, but here the plastic is more opaque than it was on the other engines, so it doesn't look as obvious from a distance. You can also see some nice red lining going around the cylinders, and above them a small box with a wheel picked out in gold. Moving to the top of the boiler, Sir Handel has some nice separately fitted plastic parts, like the valves on the dome, the pipe that runs to his cab, and his whistle. Unfortunately, the pipe on mine is slightly bent, but it's not too noticeable in person. The front of the cab also looks nice, and the windows are lined around the outside in gold. The other side also looks really good, with a couple of slight differences, like not having the small box above his cylinder. On this side, instead of coal, there's just a box under the cab window. Speaking of the coal load, one thing I forgot to mention is that it appears as though the coal load is a separately fitted piece, according to the instructions, so it should be easy enough to replace with a more realistic coal load should you wish to do so. Looking at the wheels again, you can see that his trailing wheel is left as unpainted metal, which contrasts against his black driving wheels nicely, like in the show. Something interesting is that despite them being molded on, Bachmann was able to make the handrails on top of Sir Handel's boiler look different from each other, which is accurate to real life. His cab roof is also painted in black and has a small vent on top, which is not posable. His cab is also open, although it isn't fully detailed, due to needing space for the gears going to the trailing wheel. Finally, on the back of his cab, we can see a lot of the same detail he had in other areas, like the gold paint around the windows and the detailing on the buffer beam. Additionally, he has a tail lamp and some doors on the back of his cab. Now that Sir Handel is on the track, we can see how he runs. He is pretty good at slow starts and is able to run consistently at various speeds. My model does appear to be a little better at running forwards than in reverse. However, I will admit that even though I have run him quite a bit, I haven't yet taken the time to run him in properly, so that could just be because I haven't run him very much in reverse. Sir Handel was also able to make it around my 9 3/4 inch radius curves with no trouble, which are the tightest curves I have on my layout. They are also the tightest curve radius I own, which unfortunately means I couldn't tell you an absolute minimum, but I hope this is still helpful information. Sir Handel also runs pretty well over my Kato points, and I've only had him derail a couple of times, although those were due to a bad track connection at a different point on the layout, which has since been fixed. He does occasionally stall at slower speeds over the Y point, but that's more of an issue with the point than with Sir Handel, since pretty much all of my engines have struggled with it. As you can see here, Sir Handel is also quite strong, and I think the fact that he's all-wheel drive helps with that. Here he's pulling 21 cars, and no, that's not an editing trick. For my final thoughts on Sir Handel, I'd say he's a pretty good model. He looks really good and has some excellent molded and painted detail. While he does have more detail here than he did in the show, it is mostly consistent with the standards set by the other products in the range, so he doesn't look out of place. Additionally, he's also an excellent runner and will be quite capable of pulling any train you might want to give him. I'd definitely recommend picking him up if you're interested in the narrow gauge line. In my opinion, he's one of the best narrow gauge engines Bachmann has done, and I'm excited to see where the range could go from here. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.